I don't think Sonia's death was an accident, explained Celise, warming her hands at the fire. It's late. An unseasonable chill has set in around the manor. If nothing else, it reflects her mood. Foul play? Asks Timothy. Even with her back turned, Celise can all but hear the steward's brow arch. Based on what? Something Sonia told me herself, replies Celise. She turns and looks over the small office where Timothy manages the Countess's affairs. She crosses the distance to him and shares what she knows in a quiet voice. He listens, asking no questions until she is done. Who else have you told? He asks. Just you. I see. I shall discuss this with the Countess in the morning. For now, I think it is best to keep this quiet. Philip, especially, doesn't need these thoughts gnawing at him with his sister's death so fresh. Yes, I think you're right, sighs Celise as she departs. Perhaps my fears are groundless, she muses to herself. In any case, I've already left my letter with the town clerk to be sent with the morning's post. She returns to her bedroom, jumping at every shadow cast by the statues in the gallery and every sound that could be a muffled footfall. You're imagining things, she whispers. The nearest statue tips and falls toward her. Hey. Hello! Welcome to Board Game Opinions. My name is Jonathan Hicks.
I'm Chantal Cointot.
I'm David Smith.
And I'm Windle.
And we are playing Legacy of Dragonholt. Now this is episode 2. If you want to see episode 1, do watch. The link will be below on our channel. And in the previous episode, not to give away any spoilers, but effectively we ran through a forest trying to get to the village of Dragonholt, and we fought off some bandits on the way. And that's pretty much it. I mean, not a great deal happened last time, but we kind of learned how to play the game, and now we're entering the village. There's this giant book they've given us for what we're supposed to do next, and David, I think, is going to take it from here.
All right. So we went to sleep, and then we wake to the smell of freshly baked bread and the chipper voices of Mariam and Sapphire. Golden shafts of sunlight stream through the window beside your bed, and you idle for a moment before getting up, watching dust float in the air in the morning light. With a yawn and a stretch, you rise from your bed and prepare yourself for the day ahead. As you step out your room, you see that Braxton has also stepped into the corridor. She gives you a polite smile and nod. Morning. You just about respond when Mariam comes around the corner from the direction of the common room. Good, you're awake. Breakfast is ready. It's a real feast, exclaims Mariam eagerly. Come on, it'll get cold if you just dawdle in the hall. With that, Mariam takes Braxton's hand and drags her, well, Braxton allows herself to be dragged, towards the common room. You descend the stairs. Sapphire is setting a table with plates. Mariam ushers Braxton to the table and they both sit. You take a seat and examine the feast that Sapphire has prepared. Large yellow eggs, thick slices of brown toast, juicy ham steaks, and seasoned pan-fried potatoes. As you are scooping food onto your plate, Sapphire returns with 2 large pitchers, one filled with creamy milk and the other with freshly squeezed juice. After checking on the other patrons, Sapphire returns and sits at the table with you. So, what brings you to Dragonholt? Have you come in search of love? Or... Sapphire gasps and glances around before leaning in close. Are you here for revenge?
Those being the only viable options, really.
That's it, just 2 choices, as in real life. Braxton coughs and strikes her chest with a fist, having choked on a bit of potato, and Mariam begins laughing. The love of theatrics runs in the family, I see, mutters Braxton after a drink of milk. Sapphire blushes lightly and looks back at you. Forgive me, perhaps I gossip with the neighbours too much. We have a bunch of choices here. We could have visiting an old friend, just looking for the next adventure, hoping to find gainful employment. If I'm lucky, I'm not the only one searching for love. And I seek vengeance on the man who killed my father.
Yes, I was going to say that sounds familiar.
So with those last 2, you need to have some required skills. Now in the village section, we can just use all of the skills. We don't need to worry about the activating of tokens.
Okay.
If I'm lucky, I'm not the only one searching for love. I require empathy, which I have. I seek vengeance on the man who killed my father. Require deception or performance, which I also have. Performance at least.
Yeah. I don't have any of those things. So.
I mean,
perception.
None of those are really why we're here, though, are they?
Nope, but I am definitely looking for love because I've written it on my character sheet.
Oh, okay.
So you're just going to butt in there.
So I'm taking this one since I'm in control. And I'm going to say that I am hoping that someone else is looking for love too. 1394. You chuckle to yourself and shake your head. It's no bother at all, Safi. If I'm lucky, I'm not the only one in Dragonholt searching for love. You flash the innkeeper a smile. Sapphire's cheeks flush and she glances away, suddenly stricken by shyness. You notice Mariam grins slyly and Braxton pretends she hasn't heard anything. The bells on the front door jingle, signaling someone entering the inn. Sapphire stands. Excuse me, she says with a slight stutter and hurries off to welcome the new patron. Mariam nudges you with an elbow. Hey now, what are your attentions with my aunt? She says with a wide grin, and you think you see Braxton blush faintly. Mark story point X6.
Oh.
Read 2994. After breakfast, you return to your room, grab what you'll need before venturing into the village, for the day. When you return to the common room, you see that Braxton is also about to set out. Many of the patrons have dispersed since breakfast, but a few remain in the common room, reading or mingling with one another. Mariam is nowhere to be seen. If you have any questions about Dragonholt, don't hesitate to ask me, says Sapphire. Where's Mariam gone off to? Asks Braxton. Oh, that child couldn't wait any longer and ran off to see the old apothecary's shop. Sapphire shakes her head. Even if she buys it, it will take some time before it's up and running. Nasty fire it was. Lorimore fire is nothing to take lightly. If you have discovered the hidden message in the letter from Celise, read entry 1518.
Oh, hang on, I feel like let's have a look at this.
Too.
I'm sure we can figure this out.
Yes.
I need a sheet to write on. Can I write on the... Oh.
Well, you can.
I mean, it
just
depends
take
on
my
what it
pad.
means by hidden message.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
I mean-
we have found a hidden
It must be
message.
related to the messing,
Oh, I wasn't quite
The
hidden
the
there.
letters that are.
That there is a hidden message in that letter, in that something is
If we take
off.
all the letters
Yeah, that's
that
a
are...
very-
I don't
and
mean
just
like it's a
add them
code.
Extra
together,
one.
Yes.
I mean, there is a hidden message that she has told us falsehoods that only she would know were falsehoods. So it's not that
So
someone else
that's-
has written this letter.
It's the fact that we know that she's
She's trying to warn
trying to
us
say that
something
something's
is
going-
wrong.
that is a hidden message.
That is a hidden message.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's...
That's a very specific.
I don't know if it wants
Yeah.
like, oh, if you find letter 3, 4, you know.
Right, I'm going to write down all the extra letters
Sure.
and then any words. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that.
And then like...
Where the letters have been transposed. So after much deliberation, spent 10 or 15 minutes on this, we have been closely analysing this letter, and after a long time, me and Mark and Chantal had no idea at all, but David suddenly had a bright idea.
I did. Because of the work you did. But so there's lots of misspelled words in here. And I kept getting stuck on this 4 once, and I thought, oh, maybe that meant you looked at the 4th letter and then the 1st letter. But it's easier than that. You just look at the 1st letter of each misspelled thing. And that gave us the message, plot to kill noble family. Worrying indeed. So, having deciphered the hidden message, we shall turn to 1518.
Whew. We did that well when we had that decision, and we then spent
Yes.
15 minutes just looking.
It's like,
I feel like I should look at this letter.
just hang on a second.
You suddenly recall the hidden message that you discovered in Celise's letter. Unsure of the urgency Celise intended, you figure it best to make your way to meet her before too much longer. You ask Sapphire for directions to Regina's manor. Sapphire's face shifts to match your own more serious mood. Of course, the manor is just north of here. If you walk around to the north side of the block and look north, you can't miss it. Big fancy buildings on the hill. Sapphire tilts her head slightly. Is everything all right, dear? You can tell that she's truly concerned, but you also get the sense she's hoping for some juicy gossip. You assure her everything's fine. Mark story point Y5.
Yeah.
And then read entry 5302. Thank you for your hospitality, Sapphire, says Braxton as she opens the door to leave. Of course, hun, replies Sapphire. Good luck with the guards. Braxton smiles and nods before leaving. You're about to leave yourself when Sapphire stops you. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're going around Dragonholt without a map, you might get lost. It's a small village, but some of the alleyways are a real labyrinth. She produces a folded piece of parchment and lays it out on the counter.
Ooh. This is what I've been waiting for. A map. Right.
Let's see, she mutters and scans the map. Ah, here we are. She marks a spot on the map with the swan. She spends a moment marking numerous other locations for your convenience. Here you are, don't lose it now, she says. She folds up the map and hands it to you. If you have any other questions about Dragonholt, come back and ask me. You gain the map of Dragonholt. This encounter is complete.
Oh, okay.
So now that we have the map, we can choose different locations that we want to go to, and then read that entry
Should have
number.
a number for each of them. That makes
Okay,
sense.
I find
great.
this one intriguing, the chatty archer, but I'm
Probably some kind of
afraid
pub.
Yeah, it sounds like a pub.
Might yes,
We feel like
waste
maybe
some time there.
we need to
As
run
opposed to the
to,
drunken hog.
Yes, yeah.
is it Fairfax Manor? That's the one she was saying, wasn't it? That's
Yes.
our manor,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's
Lady
our
manor.
Regina Fairfax.
Yes, so
1400.
obviously we'd want to probably be heading to there
Yes,
next
yeah.
to. We don't have to,
Mhm.
but seeing that there might be some kind of urgency and a
Otherwise,
plot to
time
murder
may
people.
pass.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
The manor house is a sprawling structure of grey stone, its facade covered with dark green ivy. The east wing of the manor is older than the rest, its tall, narrow windows doubling as arrow slits and its roof marked by crenellations. An arching stair leads to the main door on the ground floor. If 4 of less time has passed today, read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Otherwise, the manor house is not accepting visitors at its time and its encounter is complete. So we just
We've
have
used no time.
no, exactly. So
So that's this. We've got a new Dragonholt village tracking sheet for tracking our time here. So we're just on day 1, I presume.
Mhm.
And there's a morning, afternoon, evening and night section, each one having 2 time units, but we haven't used any at all, have we?
so we are on day 1.
Okay.
You step into the grand hall of the manor, which is lit only by the sun shining through the high windows. A human serving girl sits at the long table, polishing silver. If story point V6 is marked, but I6 is not.
Oh, hang on. So
Yeah.
if V6
V6
is marked, no.
is neither story point S or V6 are marked, and otherwise. So
S.
S8
Or S8 is
or
not marked,
V6.
and V6 is not marked. I guess because we've done nothing in the village
Yes,
yet.
Yeah.
exactly. So 1972. The young woman sees you and calls out, "Mr. Timothy." A moment later, a slender man in a slightly rumpled velvet doublet emerges from a door to your left. "Ah," he says. "Yes, hello. I'm Timothy, her ladyship's steward. You ask after Celise, explaining that you are old friends." "Terribly sorry," says Timothy. "I'm afraid Celise is not available. To be honest, I haven't seen nor heard from her in 2 days." You ask after Countess Regina, and Timothy shakes his head. "No, I'm afraid the Countess is not available to visitors. She's far too busy." If story point Y5 is marked,
I believe it might be.
Oh yes, we got
yes,
that one.
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
"I'm certain it wouldn't be proper to let a perfect stranger into Celise's room," huffs Timothy. You display Celise's letter, pointing out that you are her old friend and that if she has been missing for 2 days, perhaps you had better find her. "Well," says Timothy, looking over the letter, "yes, I can see your point. This way." He leads you to a doorway in the left of the great hall, then into a long gallery hung with portraits and adorned with statuary. He stops at the second door of the gallery. "This is Celise's bedchamber," he says as he opens the door. "All the guest rooms are in this wing, even my own chamber." The steward watches from the doorway as you investigate Celise's room. It's rather large and grander than her usual, with most of the decorations belonging, you suspect, to the manor itself. Only the mess of papers, books, and scrolls across the writing desk under the window make you certain the room belongs to your elven friend. You don't see any evidence of foul play, but Celise's traveling cloak is not hanging in the closet, her boots are missing, and you don't see her journal anywhere. You ask Timothy about her wardrobe, and he purses his lips. "Yes, now that you mention it, it seems that one of her clothing is missing. Perhaps she packed for a trip? Odd that she didn't tell me where she was going, if so." Eventually, Timothy escorts you politely but firmly from the manor, with promises to send from you if Celise reappears or reaches out. Mark story point S8. Time passes. The
Ooh.
encounter is complete.
Okay.
All right. So we'll mark our first bit of the day. Timothy is definitely evil.
So I'm guessing now we need to choose another location?
Yep.
because-
And the encounter's complete, so we'll move on.
All right, so we've got to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Yep. It doesn't tell us to go anywhere, so we now pick somewhere on the map.
We didn't learn a great deal, did we? Other than Timothy's definitely the bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds.
And
And
dumb.
Celise is
Yeah.
probably
Celise
hidden
has
in
gone
a dungeon
missing.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I assumed he'd killed her.
Yeah, he's killed her and hidden her cloak and boots
That's right.
to make it look like she's left.
I want to inspect the statues, but I guess we don't have that option.
Here we do. It's 1590. Dragon statues.
Oh, those statues. Sorry, I mean the
No,
ones
no, the
in
one-
the manor.
yeah,
You
the
know,
one-
the statue was
yes.
falling over,
You know,
wasn't it?
Yes.
intro,
I believe that happened at
which our
early point
characters
of
don't
time.
know about, but
Yeah.
is the thing that leads us all to believe that Timothy is a wrong'un.
Yeah. All right.
Unless it's a bluff.
He says, how many people have you told? Only bad guys say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. All right.
Maybe another thing to do would be to go to the inn, which could be
It's
where
always good.
all the
You always-
staff
You always
work.
get
And
information from inns. That's the
That's
way
true.
it works. Being
Classic.
adventurous.
The Countess Inn or the Chatty Archer?
Drunken hog.
Oh, so
Drunken hog.
this village is tiny.
It's
and it's like-
basically-
it's just all inns.
That's right. All right, I'm going to go with the Countess Inn,
Cool.
as that seems to be the closest one.
Mhm.
A painted sign showing a woman's profile with a silver coronet adorns this two-storey building. The ground floor is of pale red stone, while the upper story is a sprawling half-timber affair, hanging over the entrance and supported by thick wooden posts. Flower boxes filled with colourful flowers are arranged between the support beams. If this is your first time visiting this location, I think it is, 8742. The Countess Inn's common room is hung with old, faded banners, most showing some variant of a black and white dragon crest, the coat of arms of the various rulers of Dragonholt going back generations. The far wall is painted with an expansive mural showing a large tree that you take to be the great oak at the heart of Eventide Forest, its boughs enfolding the figure of a green-eyed woman wearing a silver coronet, presumably Countess Regina. The patrons in the common room are a collection of men and women of various races, all in their middle or later years, well-to-do judging from their clothing. They talk quietly in small groups, or sit reading or napping by one of the two hearths on either side of the room. You find yourself matching their demeanour, walking more carefully, lowering your voice, almost without meaning to. An elderly human woman in a green dress sits at a table directly beneath the painted tree and waves you over as soon as she catches your eye. "Welcome to the Countess Inn," she says in a hushed tone. "You must be new to the village. I'm Ursula. If there's anything you need, don't hesitate to ask me or my daughter." She motions toward a slender, almost ethereal woman in her middle years, carrying a tray through the common room. "Pretty young thing, isn't she? The only one of my children left. The others have all moved away." If story point 03 is marked, nope. Go to 5562. A small group of silver-haired men and women ponder over a board of light and dark squares adorned with wooden playing pieces. A man half reads, half dozes by the fire. The room is filled with a vibrant, intense hush. Ursula sits in her usual seat beneath the painted tree, sipping tea from a silver cup. And we've got some options. So we can get something to eat, which requires you each to spend 5 gold. Ooh, sounds expensive.
Mhm.
Or we can deliver the letter to Ursula. This requires story point 03 is marked, which is not. We can't do that. Or we can leave. Are you hungry? 'Cause that's your only option.
We've just
Really
had breakfast, still the
yes.
morning.
No, I think we can leave. And the thing is,
Like,
we need,
5 gold for lunch.
Yeah,
we
Seems
need to
pricey.
find
How
people
much
to
money
find
have we
people
got in
to-
total as it stands anyway?
100.
100
Yeah.
in
That's
between us.
20.
It's
Yeah.
20 old to have.
I think I'll go to the
Wait.
bakery.
We're halfway through the morning according to the time tracker, so
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like lunchtime yet, does it?
No,
No.
let's leave this
Yeah.
overpriced establishment.
Where's the
Right.
Countess in?
But we need
Yeah.
to, if we get this letter that we can give to Ursula, then we can come back here.
That we
Yep.
don't know
Yes, yeah.
about.
Yes. And the encounter is complete in that case. So Mark, where would you like to go? I feel like we ought to try something other than a pub at this point.
Yeah. I think maybe the Market Street.
Sounds
It's
good.
a street, it's got market on it.
Yeah.
I think that's better than...
Yeah.
Is there any like like a stable kind of thing, like
There's a smithy, there's no...
smithy?
Mm.
Yeah.
The stable's known for providing
Yeah.
information. Or?
I meant like a point where
Talk to horses.
if Celise ran, like
We could check with-
what would be a point that she would.
You could check on the road, see if anybody saw her go up any of the roads.
Or
Yeah.
maybe
It's
the
a bit
guard
vague.
station?
Near a guard station.
They
But
may
then
have spotted her as she was.
I'm sure she never got out though.
She's probably still in
I'd like to
Fairfax
believe
Manor.
our friend is still alive.
Mhm.
Okay.
I have hope
yeah.
and optimism in my heart.
All right.
I
But
don't.
Market Street sounds good though. You'll find interesting things in the market, won't you?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, Market Street, 5,500. Dragonholt's Market Street is barely 100 yards long, a wide, partly cobbled lane that runs from the village green out towards the fields and farms that surround the town. Along the centre of the street marches a line of trees, providing a number of convenient boroughs to which merchants might tie their tents and awnings when they set up their stalls. Bordering the street are several permanent fixture stores. Along the west side of the street, a seamstress, a woodworker, a butcher and a smithy. Along the east side, the apothecary shop, a bakery and a Fletcher. A small tea house stands between the apothecary shop and the bakery. There are no posted business hours and you can't say you've ever seen a shop open, but it's kept in fine condition all the same. It says, read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's easy then. A small group of young goats is cavorting in the row of trees, climbing up the lower branches and leaping down upon one another. Two small human children are watching and laughing. When they see you, they run off between the bakers and the Fletchers to play somewhere else. The goats, at least, are indifferent to your presence. For the time being, no stalls or carts are set up along the centre of the street. A notice board under a large tree at the end of the street indicates the next market day is 2 days from today.
Oh.
Nothing of interest happens here right now. The
Yes.
encounter is complete.
Okay.
Alright.
So 2 days from today,
We need to
We
go
can
back
go
to
to the market.
with my mathematical skills means that we need to come back on day 3.
Are you
Okay.
sure?
I'm going to write market here so that we remember.
I mean, I've been making notes like that.
Oh, you have? Okay,
Oh,
great.
you put it on day 3, but that's good.
Oh,
Well,
there's a space here for notes as well.
yeah.
I've just noticed.
I'm concerned about my friend, so I think guard station.
Not
might
the
be-
guard station.
I thought that would
I
be
might
good.
get in trouble.
Oh.
I'm not here.
You just.
I'm just a cat.
hide at the back. Have you got disguise kit? Have a
I have deception.
What's my number for guard station? 5230.
It's a fairly sturdy map as far as a
Yeah, I'm just going to fold it so it
slate.
lies flat.
Definitely nothing hidden on the back. Just
Oh.
you know, there probably isn't, but always worth a check.
Can't see anything.
Oh.
When it asks us, have we found the secret message in the map, then we'll look.
Yes, yeah.
The guard station is used as a meeting place for the village guard and a place to store the few implements of war the village has. An attached annex, accessible only from the outside, serves as a jail cell that is rarely used. Behind the building is a training area with several training dummies. This is the first time visiting the station. Go to 1868. A dull thwack sounds as you circle round to the rear of the guardhouse. "Keep your shields up," calls a gruff voice. "My shield is fine," drawls another. 2 guards, both human, are sparring with wooden swords and shields. One a woman with a bored expression, the other a lantern-jawed man whose face is red with frustration. An orc man, his head spotted with wispy grey hair, sits and watches them, shaking his head. "Your shield's fine against Deacon here, but against a real opponent, you'd be dead, Talia." Deacon, the human man, puffs out his chest and lowers his sword. "It's not becoming to strike a lady, that's all." Talia rolls her eyes. "An easy thing to say after you spent all morning trying to strike me, and failing." She throws her sword and shield down. "This is pointless. I'm already a better fighter than both of you put together. I'll be back when there's some actual work that needs doing." She stalks past you, barely sparing you a glance, and is soon gone. The orc man stands stiffly as he notices you. "Ah, we don't get many visitors here. I'm Tweagle. That was Talia. This is Deacon." He nods over his shoulder to the human behind him and flourishes his sword into an ever elaborate bow. "We represent a ladyship's guard here in Dragonholt, such as it is." Tweagle stomps over to you and peers at you with watery yellow eyes. "You're new. Just came in with the Sapphire's niece, eh?" "Through Eventide Forest, no less. How'd you find the journey?" You explain about your run-in with the bandits and how you and Braxton and Miriam fought them off. Oh, good job that. Bandits, eh? He turns and studies Deacon, who appears to be trying on different gratuitously masculine poses with his sword, peering at his reflection in the muddy puddle in the practice yard. That's not good news. Mark 1 progress in heroism.
Oh.
Ooh.
Time passes.
So we've got these progress tracks at the bottom here of our Dragonholt Village tracking sheet, and there's different categories like heroism, academic study, combat training, social practice, etc. And it looks like when you get a certain amount of progress, you can kind of cash it in for something. So we get 1 in heroism.
Heroism, yep. We can now, if 7 or less time has passed, which is the case,
Yep.
we could request to use the training ground. Try and toughen up, maybe get some combat training, maybe that's
Yeah.
what I'll
Not
do.
a bad idea.
I like that.
All right. Okay. So 1, 3, 2, 2.
I'm getting the feeling that we're just visiting place in the village at the moment to get a feel of the village. And then
Yep.
tomorrow...
You retrieve a practice weapon from the rack and square up against one of the blocky training dummies. The dummy doesn't put up much of a fight, of course, but swinging the heavy training weapon is quite the workout. And the muscles in your arms and back burn as you grunt and thwack away for a few hours.
Oh.
You each lose 2 stamina.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Oh no, I don't usually do this. It's a bit more physical than I like to get. Mark 1 progress in combat training or 1 progress in physical training. So,
Okay. So I'll perhaps just read the little blurb under each of these. So it says for combat training, once you get to 6 progress, then you can pick a skill to learn. So it can be archery, brawling, dueling, or military at the cost of 1 experience per skill. So I guess you're casting in your experience you've gained to gain extra skills. And for physical training, same thing, but it's agility, athletics, endurance, or stealth.
Yeah.
So my vote will be for physical training, personally.
yeah, I'm
because we're missing
a lover,
this,
not
yeah.
a fighter, so I'm physical over combat.
I'm good with combat already, so I don't physical's more
So
useful.
we're going
Yes,
for
yeah,
1 physical training.
1
Yes.
physical training.
All right.
Time passes,
Well,
and the encounter is complete.
it's lunchtime.
Should we go back to the counter?
Right. Spend some money. Let's try one of the other ones, see if they're cheap.
Yeah, let's go to a different pub.
Drunken hog!
Well, we're not too far from Chatty Archer.
Yeah, I want to know what the chatty archer
Yeah.
is.
Alright.
Let's go
Yeah.
there.
If they chat a lot, we might find some information.
Is
Exactly.
that not the Fletcher that they
The
talked
Fletch-
about?
This was the Fletcher. I think.
The Fletcher was near the bakery, so yeah, that could be the Fletcher.
I think it was probably the Fletcher.
Chatty Archer could
Oh,
be the
okay.
Fletcher.
I thought these 2 sort of rows of shops that line the
But it-
market.
They ran off between the bakery and
Yeah.
the Fletcher, didn't they? So I
Yeah.
think it's
Okay.
probably a Fletcher. We can go there and find out.
Anyway, yeah, sorry, carry on.
So, Chatty Archer.
Yes.
An archery butt lies under maple tree outside this rustic lodge-style tavern. Several arrows are stuck within it, and others stand point down in the earth by the tavern's polished pine wood door. A strung bow hangs over the door, nestled under the awning to protect it from the element. If 4 or more times has passed today, that's not the case.
I think
Otherwise, 4 more.
Oh, we only had 2 pints.
Yeah, we got 2.
Yeah, we've had 2.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Chatty Archer is not open until evening. This
Oh.
encounter is complete.
Alright. Well, I'm afraid that was a quick one for you.
Are you making notes on that as well?
Chatty Archer is only open in the evening.
Okay.
Drunken hog!
Shall we try the drunken hog then?
Yeah. Go on then.
Which could be the same,
It could be.
whereas the bakery will be open and that's the place you wanted to go.
Drunken hog!
Bakery, probably only open in the morning.
Oh yeah, and it's noon already?
That is probably a fair bet,
Oh, in
actually.
that case, I think we should go to the bakery then.
I'll go to the...
You can go to the hog.
Yeah.
And we'll quickly go to the bakery before it shuts. 6,800. The bakery has a warm and cosy storefront featuring a counter with various baked goods on display and a few tables and chairs for customers to enjoy their pastries. If 5 or less time has passed today, I guess it's
Case.
open quite a long time
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Read the entry below that corresponds to the
So
current
it's more like a
day.
Greg's then. isn't it?
So day 1, you step into the bakery and are greeted by the warm smell of baking bread and the chiming of a silver bell on the door. "I'll be right with you," calls a voice with a thick Dunwara accent. If this is your first time visiting this location while it's open, read entry 3460. A muscular dwarf man comes bustling through a door in the back wall carrying a wooden tray piled high with steaming pastries. The man has golden brown skin and chestnut hair. His beard is tied in many braids, currently all bound together by a length of twine. He brushes flour off his hands and off the sturdy, practical apron he wears. "Hello," he says. "Me name is Grisbeck Hearthstone, and this here be the Hearthstone Bakery. Welcome." Grisbeck slides the pastries off his tray, placing each one carefully on a shelf beneath the counter as he does. While he works, he continues to chat. "I don't think I've seen ye about before. New in town, are ye?" You confirm that you are, and introduce yourself, and he bobs his head. "Well, pleased to meet ye. Ain't that fine?" "Da!" calls a small voice. "The door!" Grisbeck smiles and lays one finger alongside his nose. "Just a moment." He turns and opens the door in the back wall, admitting a young dwarf girl carrying a broad basket. Her hair is copper, as compared to his warm brown, but the same golden brown skin. "This is me daughter, Penny," he explains. Mark story point N2. We've met Penny. "Pleased to meet ye," the girl says as she stacks loaves of bread from within her basket on the counter above her head. If story point H8 is marked, no. Read entry 8125 then.
That's an interesting accent you've got, Mr. Hearthstone.
25.
Trademark.
It's actually, in the text, it's written with all the, like they're trying to indicate how to pronounce it, if you like. It's not spelt correctly at all. "Penny," says Grisbeck, "you've done plenty to help your Dar out today. You should run and play with your friends now." "Oh, Dar," says the girl, "I told ye. What use have I got for friends when I've got the best Dar south of the Dunwara Mountains?" She smiles, but it seems a fragile sort of thing, and then she settles down under the windows with the knit owl, whose head is attached by only a thread. "Penny," says Grisbeck, "what happened to thine owl?" "Those boys tore him again," says Penny, patting the owl mournfully. "Oh, that ain't right," sighs the baker. He tugs at his beard and clicks his tongue. "They ought to know better than to do such a thing." He frowns, then shakes his head and turns his attention to you. "What can I do for ye?" Options. We can get something to eat.
Let's go beat up some boys.
Because that would go down well.
Injustice.
So we
If we
can.
do that,
Her-
maybe we'll have the
heroism
food
plus
for
one.
free.
Yes, we're at the bakery and it's lunchtime, so eating might be good. It costs us 5 gold each again, though. Same price.
That's extortionate.
Let's beat the boys up, and then we get to eat for free as a.
Well, we can
Reward.
offer to repair the doll.
Yeah.
Oh,
That might be good.
that feels like.
We need craftsmanship for that.
I'm sure one of us
I
must
have
have.
Don't
one,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay, great.
Big
We
old
could
things.
give Penny a gift, which requires us to have a cloth doll.
No.
Don't think we've got one of those.
Mm.
Or we can leave the bakery.
I'll
I
use
think,
my.
I think you should be
Yes,
fixing it up.
Yes, yeah, I will.
Okay, so 3, 2, 3, 3. You take the doll from Penny and crouch down with your needle and thread that you just happen to be carrying around with you.
Always.
Yes, yeah.
It's the work of a few moments to reattach the owl's head, and Penny is delighted with your efforts, clapping her hands together in joy. "Oh, thine owl, you're all better. Oh, thank ye, thank ye." The girl hugs you, then takes her owl and races over to her father, shouting, "Da, da!" Grisbeck scoops her up into his arms, laughing and smiling. He presses his forehead against hers. "Well, that's a fine thing, isn't it just?" He laughs. "Da, we have to do something nice for 'em," says Penny. "That we do, my lass." Grisbeck plops her down on the ground and places one finger alongside his nose. "Just ye wait now, I'll fix you something special." Soon enough, you are seated beneath the windows with a bowl filled with piping hot stew in front of you. "Made with Dunwar ale, of course," grins Grisbeck. You each recover 2 stamina.
Nice.
That's handy.
Needed
Full.
that.
I hit the spot.
Here's another pen kicking around. There we go. And we get story point Q5.
Case.
Oh, hang on, that's...
Yeah.
Oh, I've done that wrong. So just, if it's got a
Yeah.
single slash,
It's a
Yeah.
mistake.
that's not been marked. And time passes. So it's now afternoon. The stew and the bread is delicious and filling. The bread is dark and nutty, a perfect complement to the rich, warm stew. Grisbeck stands and places a delicate pastry filled with red berries in front of you. Dessert, he grins. A traditional recipe I brought down from the Dunwar Mountains with me, although it were cloudberries then, not strawberries. I like it, says Penny. It reminds me of home. This is home now, me lass, says Grisbeck warmly. Do we want to ask about the Dunwar Mountains? Give a gift to Penny if we have the cloth doll, which we still don't. Or we can say thanks for the meal and head off. So do we want to know about the Dunwar Mountains?
Not especially.
You know, I mean, the completest part of me is like, yeah, but I'm still concerned about my missing friend.
Yes, yeah.
To be honest, I'm tempted.
Although we spent a few hours just fighting some dummies, so I don't know what
that wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Half tempted to throw the girl down the well.
No, because we wanted to be prepared in case our friend needs
our
some
friend's in
muscle,
trouble, so I needed to...
Exactly.
We may end up going to the Dunwar Mountains, so it might be useful to know something about them.
Yeah, good call. Let's hear about the Dunwar Mountains.
I'm going to ask. Ah, the mountains! I do miss them dearly, sighs Grisbeck. The story goes that when the dragons came to follow us there, they turned back, for they saw ye earthrights that made us a perfect home. He laughs at his daughter, rolls her eyes, and goes back to playing with a doll. I miss the sheer white beauty of the peaks, the carvings of my ancestors, the echo in deep halls. Ah, but the mountains, they're no fit, safe place to raise a daughter. Not anymore. He shakes his head and leans on the bakery's counter, staring off into the distance. It were a goblin what got me wife, Penny's ma. Barbed arrows they use, and they'll kill ye for a loaf of bread to be sure. But there are worse things moving in the deep, and the guardians ain't what they used to be. He grins and slaps his palm on the counter. So me and me Penny, we came here, and a good thing we did too. Why, we wouldn't have met you if we hadn't, have we? Time passes, and the encounter is complete.
Are we now starting the evening phase?
Yet we are entering evening. Incidentally, when the day is over, it tells us to read a particular entry. I guess we go to bed.
So I guess the Chatyacha is now open?
I mean, Dragonholt,
Oh,
right?
Dragon, yeah.
Isn't that your choice?
I'm tempted to go to the village hall. It might still be open.
The village what?
Hall. 5100.
Hey, you're in control.
It's not. It's not lunchtime anymore, and it's not
No.
quite dinner time yet either. So it's too early for the drunken half.
Well, the afternoon's over.
And we've just eaten.
But
We've
That's
literally
true.
just
We
eaten.
have just
Yes,
eaten.
We ate and then listened to his long story about the
exactly,
mountains.
yes.
Pretended to listen to his long story about the
I
mountains.
listened. Nice guy.
But we are definitely in the evening.
I think the village hall.
Go for it.
Okay.
What sort of? If it's the evening, what?
It's the
sort-
evening.
So it's
It's the first part of the evening.
probably ain't gonna be open now, is it?
I don't know. We can second guess these things till we visit it.
Let's go to the village hall.
Who thought the Fletcher
Alright.
wouldn't be open in the morning?
Yeah. The village hall is easily the largest building in the town. A tall edifice of pale grey stone with peaked windows of glass at regular intervals. The main entrance is a pair of heavy oak doors standing at the top of a short but broad stone stair and flanked by a pair of columns. If 5 or less time has passed today, handily
Yes.
enough,
Still the case?
read the entry below.
Oh, just in time.
Otherwise, it'll be closed. Village Hall, day 1. A young woman with hair in dozens of braids ponders the message board. She appears to be sounding out the words of the various missive posted there under her breath, reading slowly with difficulty. The message board announces that the next market day is in 2 days, if we didn't know, and that there will be a village bonfire at the same night. There's a posting offering a shop for sale. Slightly damaged. The price is quite modest considering the size of the building and its location. You notice a weathered page that states a reward for a passing hero who can help with a goblin infestation. That sounds like a job to us.
So that's wanting help with a goblin.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
The hero is to report to Fiora Brigmore at the smithy.
Oh.
And this is the first time we visited while it's open, so we read 3367.
So let's say that if we visit the smithy, we might have like a quest that could give us some weapons.
Oh,
As a
I haven't been
reward?
to the smithy yet,
Yeah.
or stolen the weapons from the smithy, so I wouldn't know if it would give us weapons. The town clerk coughs politely to catch her attention, then steps forward to introduce himself. Hello, he says. My name's Marks. I serve as the clerk for the village business. He smiles an anemic little smile and tugs on his brown tunic. You just came from town with that orc woman, no? Is F7 marked?
It is.
Oh, well then then we can go there, which is all the way up right towards the end, I believe. You confirmed that yes, you've just come into town, and you also mentioned that you cleared a blockage on the road when you did so.
Yeah.
That'd be what it is.
Spent a lot of time
Just
doing
quite. The clerk nods, shuffling away through a side door into an office piled high with ledgers, pamphlets, and what must be the official records. The orc woman, Braxton was it, mentioned that you'd done so. You have the village's sincere thanks. That road's our main source of trade with the outside world. He returns, then, counting out a stack of coins into his hand. And our sincere thanks means more when there is gold behind it, no. He offers you the coins.
Yes,
Nice.
definitely.
You gain 50 gold,
Woo!
Nice.
which is 2 meals in this place. Mark 1 progress in heroism,
Heroism. We're getting good at that.
and the encounter is complete. And I believe
Yeah,
we have a
gosh
smithy to
darn,
go
yeah.
to.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
I'm just thinking about the
Offer a
time
job.
more so than anything.
do
Yeah,
you think
the
it's going to be
smithy-
open in the evening?
Well, I didn't think the town hall was going to be open in the evening. I think it's 5.
Yeah, town hall's
But
only just
it's
open.
the second half of the evening though, so maybe
No,
the pubs
no,
will
didn't-
be...
Did time pass when you... The time hadn't
Oh.
passed.
Did it say time passes?
No, it just said the
Oh,
encounter
we're
was
still
complete.
in that bit.
We're still on 5 out of
Sorry,
8.
so yeah.
At the end of the market row stands a low building with a grey slate roof and thick chimney, the smithy. The workshop portion of the building sports clapboard walls easily open to let in cooler air when the furnace is in use, while a brownstone annex hosts what you presume are living quarters, offices, storage, and other necessities of the smith's trade. A polished silver hammer hangs from a wrought iron signpost outside the front door, inscribed with Dunwar characters. A bronze plaque is set into the wall with the same legend written in the common tongue: Fjord Brightmall, Smith. If 5 or less time has passed today,
Yep.
it's 7743.
It's still open.
A hot wind blows around you as you duck into the workshop. The roar of the furnace is punctuated by loud clanging and the in and out breathing of the bellows. The young dwarf man on the bellows pauses in his exertions, mopping his brow with a rag and staring at you with frank curiosity. The clanging continues for a few moments more until the smith puts down her hammer and leans back on a padded stool. "What is it, Brill?" she calls. The apprentice on the bellows points in your direction and the smith twists a glance at you. "Ah, new customers. Come closer and let me have a look." She lifts a glowing hot piece of metal from her anvil with the aid of sturdy tongs and plunges it into a bucket of water at her side, then pulls it back out and sets the quenched work in progress aside. The smith is a sturdily built woman, simply dressed in a light white shirt and heavy leather smock. Her auburn hair is pulled back from her face in a tight bun, and her only ornament is a bright silver necklace around her neck with a subtle purple sheen. "Fjord Brightmall," she says as you approach. "Hand me my crutch, will you?" You find a wooden crutch with a padded grip close by and offer it to her. She takes it, situated under her left shoulder, and swings herself on one good leg to the edge of the workshop, away from the heat. Her right leg moves stiffly at her side. "I know what you're thinking," she says. "I must have some great story of battling a troll to a standstill to go with my injury. But I'm sad to say I was born like this. Sorry to disappoint." She settles onto a carved wooden chair and lays a crutch to the side. "Welcome to my smithy. My apprentices and I can handle any work you need, or perhaps you'd like to browse my stock. I assure you, we Brightmalls are the finest smiths south of the Dunwar Mountains." She grins and leans forwards conspiratorially. "And frankly, I'm better than most of those overproud duffers too." 4422. Fjord directs your attention to a stockroom which is directly adjoining the workshop and is filled with useful items. Trivets and nails and horseshoes, of course, but also swords, daggers, coats of mail, a vicious-looking warhammer, and a wide selection of other implements of the adventuring trade. "Or I'm available for special commissions, of course," she adds, idly fondling a silver necklace. "Well, Bozarth he's a journeyman. His rates are much more affordable than mine." Ha 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 ha. She laughs. Purchase new equipment requires we each spend 25 gold. We can contract Fjord to forge a magical sword, except that requires a war rune, which we do not have. We can ask if there's anything we can do to help, or we can leave the smithy.
I want a magical sword now.
Well, we need to find a war rune.
Well, we could spend 100
I'm
gold
guessing-
on new equipment.
We could offer to help and hope that the reward would be one of those swords.
Oh, is this where we can do the goblin thing?
I'd imagine so.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah. So
We really probably do want to help.
Let's help
Exactly.
first.
We haven't got anything else
Let's
on
have some
other than
cheese.
finding our friend, and that's coming nowhere at the moment.
Yep. She's dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
she's
so-
laughing. You want to help? Fiora asks, her eyebrows rising. You understand that my apprentices actually pay me, right? She reaches for a crutch and stands. But I'm sure I could find something useful for you to do if story point B1 is marked.
Nope.
I tell you what would really help, she says, stomping towards a rack of shelves and papers. There's a silver mine south of here, past the Willow Grove. I'd like to get it reopened, but there's a small goblin problem. You wouldn't know any adventuring heroes have some free time, would you? Offer to clear out the silver mine requires 3 or more fame.
Oh.
Ah.
We do not
Probably
have
want to put that
so
note
we're
down,
not
though.
quite famous enough. I'll be like, yeah, I'm up for it. Who are you? Maybe later.
Well, if we clear it out, you pay us then. And if we die,
Offer
you
your
don't pay us.
assistance. For simpler matters, 9407.
or we might just clean the case.
Right, so the goblin mission at the smithy needs 3 fame.
Fames,
yeah.
It does.
Okay. How do we get famous?
By doing cool stuff, I guess.
We have 1 fame.
Yeah. We cleared the tree out, didn't we?
Yep.
Guess that's not quite famous enough.
Good news, Brill, calls Fiora. You get to practice some metalwork today. Our new friend here will be minding the forge. She escorts you to the forge and shows you where the coal is stored and how the bellows are operated, then leaves you to work while she tends to her apprentices. You soon find yourself stripped to the waist, sweating and throwing your entire body into the heavy bellows pump. Fiora moves between a handful of apprentices, commenting on their work as they pound away at their anvils and pour molten steel into moulds and quench glowing hot metal in heavy barrels of what smells like seawater. After a while, Fiora approaches you and offers you a clay cup of cold water. Thanks for the help. My apprentices certainly appreciate it. As you gulp the life-giving water and dress yourself again, she counts out a small handful of silver coins and presses it into your palm.
Ooh.
If you need more work later, come by. You each lose 2 stamina. Oh, easy come, easy go.
I can see that happening.
You each gain 10 gold. So an extra 40 gold into the pot.
Ooh.
Mark 1 progress in physical training. Yes, we're getting there.
Yeah, good at that.
Time passes,
Okay.
and the encounter is complete.
Oh.
I feel like I need a drink.
Dragonholt!
Well,
one of these
the
was
chatty
closed,
archer
wasn't it?
is open now,
All right.
so I might
Okay,
as well finish that
Yeah, I might as well.
and leave you
Sure.
a surprise of the Dragonholt. Probably tomorrow though. We'll see.
We've basically not done much and doubled our money. This is
So-
an easy
Same.
adventuring life.
We're good at getting money.
That's nice, but our friend's still missing. And she's alive.
So, Chatty Archer, day 1. You open the door and step into a warmly lit hall containing a smattering of oak tables and chairs. A long counter stretches the length of the left wall, bar stools in a row on one side, and a shelf holding bottles of varying shapes, size, and colours on the other. If this is your first time visiting this location while it's open, read
A note on accents there, but it was an oak table,
Sorry.
not an orc table, as I was slightly worried.
I want to see an orc table. That sounds much
A
better.
table made
Bit of
out
orc.
of orcs or just made by an orc?
I presumed it was an orc-made table. But
Yes.
I was thinking it was literally
Oak
just
does
2
make
orcs
more
that are
sense.
just sewn together and just like
That would be horrifying since we've just met an orc who was quite nice to us.
And I'm half orc myself.
Yeah, we'd be causing some trouble.
So I
we could
recognise
strengthen
who
that
made
table.
it. Like
It could be an orc-made oak table.
a tall human man with broad shoulders stands behind the counter polishing a mug. His sleeves are rolled up, revealing muscular arms. He looks up at the door as you enter and gives you a toothy grin and a friendly nod. New to Dragonholt? Asks the man behind the counter. I don't reckon I've seen you before. He gives his mug a once-over and sets it on a lower shelf with others like it. Then slings the drying cloth over his shoulder and steps toward you. My name's Hunter. I'm the owner of this here drinking hall. You introduce yourself and glance around the room before taking a seat. There are patrons at several of the tables, men and women enjoying food, drink and banter. Others are sitting at the bar, engaged in conversation with a human woman behind the counter. Beside you sits an elderly human man whittling a small wooden duck. You look like the adventurous type. Me and my wife, Lee, used to do some adventuring before settling down and opening this place. Hunter gestures to the woman behind the counter. She smiles and waves. Lee can fix you up something to eat if you're peckish. Just shout at us if you need anything at all. Oh, adventuring, eh? Exclaims the older man sitting beside you. I had myself many an adventure in my day. Spent much of my youth making day trips to Eventide Forest. Though back then, it wasn't as dangerous as it is now. The old man blows on his whittled duck, removing excess wood shavings. If story point V6 is an arc...
No.
Okay, otherwise, 2806.
Yes, it's a bar and a Fletcher's.
Or maybe it is just the bar.
I don't think it's the Fletchers.
No, I don't think it is now.
We had all the
I think
archery.
that's the Fletchers.
You had all the archery stuff outside this when we were.
Yeah, he did.
Is that right? Asks Hunter. Tell us about it, Theo. The tavern owner sets a small bowl of nuts in front of you as the older man begins to tell a story about climbing trees in the forest. You can tell immediately his story will last for some time. Hunter leans over the counter to whisper to you. Don't mind old Theodore. He just likes to tell his stories to anyone who will listen. Can't tell if he forgets he's already told the stories or if he just likes telling them again. You are about to respond when you get the sense that you're being watched. You cautiously glance around the tavern once more until your eyes fall on a hooded figure. A woman, if you had to guess, sitting alone in the corner. You can barely see her face under the shroud of her ivy green cloak.
Oh, hang on. Ooh.
Yeah, ooh,
Green. She likes green, doesn't she?
yes.
Sure.
Suddenly, the cloaked figure stands and exits the tavern through the back door. You follow her into the alley, looking around the corners of the nearby building to ensure no one else is around before calling out to her in a hushed voice, Celise.
Yeah, my friend's alive, I told you.
It's not her. It's something that looks like her.
Doppelganger.
That's the one. But I don't know if doppelgangers exist in the real world. I mean, a doppelganger.
Magic the boy.
Sure they do.
Yeah. Timothy did. Timothy's a doppelganger.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came, says Celise. There is trouble afoot, and I'm getting too old for trouble. Celise doesn't look a day older than you when you met her. But then again, she's an elf. I believe that someone is plotting against the noble family here. That's exactly what the letter was saying. You might already know that the local lord is Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt. She had, up to until recently, 3 children, Sonia, Rochelle and Philippe. Regina is sick. She seems a little young to me, to be dying already, but humans will do that on you, I suppose. So her daughter, Sonia, was poised to inherit the county. But Sonia came to me and said she had received a letter from her uncle Kyrick, Regina's brother. Kyrick demanded that Sonia renounce her position and support Kyrick's claim to Regina's seat. Sonia refused him, of course. Days later, continues Celise, Sonia fell from her horse, struck her head on a rock and died. Not suspicious on its own, perhaps, but Sonia was an excellent rider. She was alone in the forest when it happened. I became concerned that Kyrick had murdered her. I shared my suspicion with Timothy, Regina's steward, and at night, as I returned to my bedroom, a heavy statue in the gallery toppled over and nearly killed me.
Ah, she survived.
Celise closed her eyes.
So you have faith.
Yes.
Timothy was the statue.
Oh, you pushed the statue. Why would you push the statue?
Because it's a doppelganger.
And she leans back, resting her head. So I fled. I already sent a letter to you, so I hid in the village waiting. Mark story point V6.
Oh, that's the one he keeps asking about.
Yeah.
Great.
Celise stands, brushing down her cloak and taking a deep breath. But nothing unusual has happened since then, and Philippe and Rochelle remain safe. It would seem the situation is not as dire as I had suspected. For now, I think it's wise for you to acquaint yourself with the villagers and gain their trust. We will need them on our side if it comes to a struggle for leadership. Right now, I will go straight to Lady Regina and tell her everything. Will you come with me? So we've got two possibilities. Of course, Celise, let's go now. Or go on go on your own. I have other business to attend to.
I don't think we can turn down my friend. I've just found out she's still
We
alive.
don't have other business
Oh,
to
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
So
so
we're
on
just
to
gonna-
that story point.
Yes,
Mess
yeah.
around in town.
Yes, I think that's the right thing
Oh
to
no,
do.
you wanted to go to the...
Drunken
Yeah,
man.
well, yeah, the Dragonholt.
Sorry, Celise, we're off to the Dragonholt.
You've been in the chatty
You know, you
Arsha.
go back to the place where you were almost killed on your own.
Yes.
She's fine. She survived. She's obviously got a bit of wits about her. What is she yours for?
Sure. She was fine on her own. You go with Celise to Fairfax Manor, where a middle-aged human woman in servant's livery opens the door for you with an expression of surprise. I must speak with the Countess at once, Matilda, said Celise. Matilda only nods and ushers you upstairs, where Regina's audience chamber lies in the manor's ancient round tower. The Countess's enormous black throne is empty, but the Countess is seated on a carpet in one earth. She is a human woman of middling years with fair skin and enormous green eyes, almost luminescent in a face more lined with pain than by age. The Countess has a round hoop in her lap, a piece of intricate needlework, and I should be able to recognize that.
Mm.
My lady, says Celise. Celise, says Regina, I have wondered if you had quit my service. Please introduce us. Celise bows and introduces you. Regina inclines her head, but makes no effort to rise. What brings you to me today, my friend? With many pauses to word her story as diplomatically as possible, Celise shares the same suspicions with Regina that she had shared with you. As she speaks, a well-thin man in a ruffled tunic slips into the room to stand silently at Regina's sides. Yes, says Regina at length. Timothy told you much of this the day you disappeared. Timothy told me much of this the day you disappeared, was it, Timothy? She offers one hand to the man in the ruffled shirt, who helps her to her feet with perfect form. Yes, my lady. I was not sure what to make of Miss Celise's suspicions, but I reported them dutifully. Regina crosses to her throne and sits with a sigh. She gestures to Timothy and points to a writing desk against the wall. Timothy, the book in the drawer there. He goes and fetches a slim leather-bound volume. This is Sonia's journal. I have not read it. There are things that a mother should not know about her daughter, I think. But you must do, my friends. I do not want to believe that my brother would stoop to so reprehensible a crime as King's saying. But I will not risk my children, and I hope that Kyrick is still the honourable man who stood aside for me when our father named me her over him. She presses the book into your hand. You gain Sonia's journal, mark story point P8.
P8.
Yes. So, please, read it. Perhaps it contains some clue as to Sonia's fate, and perhaps you might prevent Rochelle and Philippe from falling prey to a similar doom. She waves her hand, and Timothy rushes forward to shepherd you from the room. Her ladyship tires easily these days, he says. Thank you.
You're poisoning her, you idiot.
We will speak again. Oh dear, that sounds like a threat. Anyway. Celise frowns as she walks you to the door. So Timothy isn't a traitor after all. Or perhaps he's covering. Or perhaps there is no traitor, just rotten luck. She shakes her head and opens the door. Read that book and make it a point to get to know the locals. I will call upon you again when you are needed. 2 time passes.
2?
Yeah. This encounter is complete. Sonia's journal. You now possess Sonia's journal. You may read and refer back to the journal at any time.
Okay.
I've obviously just skipped to the last entry. It's the most interesting one. And already just the last paragraph. Galvin offered to saddle my horse for me today. How nice. Usually he insists we do it all ourselves. Because if you can't saddle a horse, you surely can't ride her. Suspicious.
And obviously, because Timothy's a doppelganger, he's also turned into Galvin, the same person.
Yes.
That's my theory.
Timothy is everybody that we haven't seen with Timothy.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So I presume that we're just going to read this on our own time, aren't we? And we'll kind of
Sure.
fill you in with important information.
We
if
don't know who
find
Galvin
there's
is
anything
yet.
in
So
here.
just-
'Cause there's quite a lot of text in that one, isn't there?
Yes.
Right, well, we're nearly done. We've got 1 time left in day 1.
Drunken hog.
Are we going to the Drunken Hog?
Sure.
Have you got a better idea?
No, we can go to the Drunken Hog.
I'm trying to find out if Galvin-
We were going to go there earlier, weren't we?
But somebody's right to go to Chassis Archer.
There's nothing else we need to do, is there?
Not until we become more famous and fight some goblins.
Yes, okay. The Drunken Hog is marked by no sign save a discarded oak hogshead. The building is low and square, its entrance sunken below the street and barred by a door black with grime. Its windows are greasy waxed paper, and the entire building seems like it hasn't been cleaned since it was built. If 5 or more time has passed today,
Yes.
I think we've come at the right time.
It's closed.
Read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Day 1. The long common room is hazy with smoke from the hearth and the pipes of the patrons. A burly human man with a shaved head and a pointed beard is arm wrestling with an equally burly human woman covered in tattoos. A small crowd has gathered, excitedly exchanging coins as they wager on the outcome. If this is your first time visiting this location while it is open, go to 6166. The Drunken Hog's common room is long and narrow, its rafters too low and its windows too high and small. The dim lighting and rushes on the floor hide what you judge from the smell is a terrible conglomeration of sick and mess and spilled ale. None of the patrons seem in the least put out by the squalor, and the room is full of raucous celebration and surly, solitary alcoholism in equal measure.
Sounds like this.
Against the long east wall lies a counter of rough-hewn wood, as much palisade as bar. Behind it stands a gaunt orc woman, her cheeks marked with scars too regular to be accidental. At the counter leans a tall human man with broken veins and the red flush of alcohol colouring his speech. A short but heavily muscled gnome perches atop a stool close at hand. They appear to be locked in an argument. "I'm telling you, Thelga, there's no such thing as gnomes," says the human man to the orc. The orc woman raises an eyebrow and nods her head toward the gnome. Right? Yeah, he's clearly a gnome, sitting right next to the human. "So what about Norman then? What's he? He even spells his name with a G." The gnome finishes his drink in one gulp. "Yeah, man, how do you explain me sitting right here if gnomes don't exist?" The human makes a face somewhere between offended and pity. "Don't be so hard on yourself, Norm. You're just short. No reason to call yourself a gnome." He pats the gnome. Seriously, he has to be a gnome. On the shoulder. Norman brushes the human's hand aside. "Gnome isn't an insult, it's my race," he exclaims, shaking his head. "All right, what about Sapphire, or the new girl, Sapphire's niece?" He trails off, snapping his fingers for a moment. "Miriam!" "Mariam," corrects the orc woman. The human man looks almost shocked. "Who? The little one that just came to town with York? She can't be more than a decade old. What are you on about?" "I swear, Reginald, you're just impossible to deal with." He slaps 2 coins on the bar. "I need another drink, Thelga. This idiot is too much." The orc woman behind the bar chuckles and pours him another mug of ale and pockets the coins.
I'm so annoyed that I missed the obvious punchline. Miriam, no, Mariam. I can't, that'd be bigamy.
We can eat, drink, and engage in tavern banter, which needs us each to spend 5 gold, or we can leave.
Towards the end, tavern,
Yeah. We've made money today. I think we can.
We can spend a bit.
I've
of it,
got
can't
to tell them all my great bigamy joke.
And how you worked out the letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might not be the best to just
No,
shout around town, but I'm telling them anyway.
So it says, I think we have to spend that. I think I need to remove this gold. So it's going to be 20 gold off our total, yeah? You approach the bar and order refreshments. Thelga, the orc bartender, pours you a drink in a chipped wooden cup and ladles out a helping of stew atop a slice of stale bread in a wooden trencher. Only the best, she says in a leaden voice. You each recover 2 stamina. Back to full. You eat and drink and find the food improves as you drink. The crowd continues to argue and boast all around you. 76-22. At the bar, Reginald continues in his incoherent insistence as to the non-existence of gnomes. Norman, for his part, seems to have put that argument aside in favour of trading boasts with an old human man missing several of his fingers. The stories and rumours the two of them swap seem more than simply improbable. We can listen to the rumours and stories. We could brag about our own adventures. We can argue with Reginald that gnomes do exist. We can look for an excuse to start a tavern brawl. Or we can finish our meal alone.
Well,
The brawl could give us fame.
Yeah.
Brawl is classic.
And this is definitely a
I
brawl.
also kind of want to brag about my exploits.
I feel like we ought to do something else before starting the brawl. We could then brawl after we've found
So-
some information from them.
I will point out that starting a tavern brawl is one of the little achievements we have on an achievement sheet.
Oh, is it?
Which does tip me towards that. That was also one of the reasons that I wrote down looking for love, because one of the achievements was going on a date.
Oh, okay. So, can we do something else first and then start the tavern brawl, do you think?
So we have time.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm always up for bragging with my exploits.
Do you think we'll get more fame that way?
Yep,
Yes.
Yeah, so let's.
Alright,
we will if I tell it.
18, 14. You spin the story of your adventures in Nericall for a number of nearby patrons, leaving out the more embarrassing moments. Oh, come on, says Norman. Are we supposed to believe any of that? I do, says Thelga. It more or less agrees with what Miss Celeste told me. Norman turns to peer at her suspiciously. What? You don't know how I spend my free time? Mark 1 progress in social practice. So if we manage to get 6 total progress in social practice, we can learn deception, empathy, performance, persuasion, or streetwise.
I don't know about this.
Right, we can tell them about our adventure in the crypt. I don't think we've had that yet. That requires S6, we haven't got it. We can tell them about our great battle on the prairie. Not yet.
I mean, I am telling all these stories. they're lacking on facts.
Or we can find something else to occupy your time in the hog. Requires 6 or less time has passed today.
No, it's well enough.
We're on 7.
Ah, boo.
Sorry, we've taken too long.
Alright, we'll come and go
So-
tomorrow.
So our only option is to do something else or leave, but in either case, time will pass, and then we'll have to read the special entry for that. So
Okay.
should we just wander out?
Yeah, I guess
Yes,
that's
yeah.
the.
So that's the end of the day. The adventure is complete, and we need 3877.
And what a day, we found our friend.
Yeah.
Told you she's alive.
Yeah, that was good to
Mine's still
feel
not
satisfied with that outcome.
She doesn't smell right. You return to your room and turn in for the night, collapsing to sleep almost immediately, because we did loads of stuff today. Your dreams are strange and unsettled, full of lurking threats and the shadows of wings falling across the land cast by a roaring fire. You wake up in the middle of the night, cross to your window and look out across the sleeping village by moonlight. Eventually, you sleep again and dream of an endless forest and a plaintive voice calling for you. You each recover half your maximum stamina.
That's
Yeah, we
fine.
had it. Yeah.
You refresh your activation token.
Okay.
This chapter of the story ends here. When you're ready to begin the next chapter, read entry 3432.
All right, great. Well, I think we'll stop there, as that's the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I presume we're going to be starting a new scenario, effectively. Maybe.
Yeah,
Or wandering around the village
it does
again.
have the whole chapters and taking breaks, but after this, it feels like this is
Okay, fine.
chapter 2 or chapter 1 ended actually.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.